George W. George W. George W. 50 burger, baby.
Yum, yum, yum.
50, fuck it. Or, I shouldn't swear this close into it. Oh no, YouTube's gonna flag us.
Whatever, we're bad boys. We are the.
If you got him.
We're the bad guys of podcasting.
We're the bad guys. Well, actually, I'd say we're the good guys. Crack him if you got him.
Crack him if you got him. Hey, let me get on that.
Little crack him if you got him. Little behind baseball here. This is just a bubbly.
Oh, don't fucking
Two at this time of year. They up roadblocks, and I'm not going to say that I get drunk while we podcast, but I usually have between 1 and 4 drinks. And I just think at this time of year, you should be a little bit more sensible and not have 1 to 4 drinks and drive. That's why usually on game day, I get dropped off and picked up, or I sleep on Brother Adam's couch with AJ on the other couch. And some more behind baseball.
How was that sleepover in the basement?
It wasn't bad. I mean, AJ obviously fell asleep right away. If anyone paid attention to the last podcast, they know he was feeling good.
Oh, hell yeah.
How was your sleep on the couch?
It was good enough.
Yeah, mine wasn't bad. It was better than the night games. They're just so late that it's better. Like, we didn't stop doing shit till about 11 p.m. Couldn't even imagine being on the East Coast. That's pushing 1 o'clock. So no, it was good. Or 2 o'clock, I guess. It was good. I had a good sleep on the couch.
And this weekend it's a 10 a.m. game. Not this, yeah.
10 a.m. Pacific. Yep.
So yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific.
So
are you
guys gonna sleep over the night before?
Well, I'll actually probably sleep I'll be in Sardis, and then I might need you to pick me up on.
But I'm definitely
Sunday morning.
I've popped that screech itch last week.
Okay, let's talk about that. So anyone that's tuning in right now, if there is, we'll say this going forward. We didn't really say prior going into the Colts game what our table is for us drinking the screech, which Lila B, Bandwagon Baba, and Brother Adrian purchased us each a bottle of screech. What is going to be the ground rules going forward? Defensive touchdown,
run back,
and then any special teams touchdown.
Yeah, any special teams.
Or if a player gets breaks a record or something.
Yeah, and so the way the screech. Yeah, we didn't establish those. The other thing that we didn't really when we were talking about shotgunning, all the interceptions.
I don't think an interception's a shotgun.
A Diggs interception.
A Diggs interception has always been a shotgun. But I think when Malik Hooker, when he ran it back. Speaking of, man, we didn't even talk about Malik Hooker being the player, Kraken player.
I know. I was gonna say it's definitely a Kraken player of the game.
The defense did really good. The cool thing about Malik Hooker is the Colts were the team that drafted him in 20 whatever. So it was kind of poetic that he had such a good game. He had the interception even before the scoop and score. And we didn't even really talk about him as a Kraken player of the game. Candidate, which he could have been and possibly should have been.
Here's one that we'll never have to drink on is when LVE makes a big play. That could be that's what Kahuna's saying. So maybe we do a shotgun if LVE makes a big play.
Yeah, but what's considered a big play for Leighton? Like an interception?
An interception.
Not like a sack. Like, it has to be something
how many sacks has he had?
I don't know.
Who?
We'd have to
LVE?
look it up.
Yeah, let's take a look at how many.
This year, probably. I don't even think he has any.
I think the thing is, it has to be
something special.
It's got to be an exceptional football
getting
play.
a sack could be special.
I think an LVE interception's warranted for a shotgun.
Forced fumble? Sack or forced fumble?
Now, here's my take on it is the Diggs interception is a special thing because Diggs had those interceptions last year. So we were building on that.
And now it's grandfathered in. It's
grandfathered in, exactly. So Barry Grant Jr. says special teams touchdown should be a shotgun. Well, a special teams touchdown or a defensive touchdown is now a screech.
That's a screech shot.
A shotgun is
I'm buying us fucking shot glasses this week. We're getting beaked on all social media platforms saying we were little bitches.
Are you fucking kidding me?
With the little sip. I don't think people understand how gross that shit is.
So it was right at the top, and the little swig, the amount that went into my mouth, I was like, I couldn't like.
I know. AJ took a second.
I don't know. I felt like I had.
I'm getting us 4 shot. I'm gonna get 4 shot glasses.
I think it'll be less than what I had in my mouth
allegedly
last week.
I guess we'll find out.
Don't worry about don't worry about them being Cowboys
They don't
branded.
have to-
'Cause
well, they're not going to be.
I'll get us some sort of
stickers or something.
stickers that we
Hey,
can
for
throw on
audio
there.
for audio listeners, you're like, what the hell are these three chumps talking about? Well,
Come on over to YouTube.
yeah, come over to YouTube. We do live streaming every every week, every game, and that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, we live
Barry,
stream every
Barry
day.
wants to know, what about Dak throwing an interception? What's that?
That's just pain.
Shit,
That's just
no.
pain. That's nothing.
So then not even a screenshot for
No.
that.
You know what?
No,
Okay, here.
That's like
because the screenshot's
No,
so
but-
painful, it should be you should be doing
but
something
it's,
like that.
It's funny because it's like another thing people messaged me was as Malik Hooker's running the touchdown back, you hear AJ yell no because I'm like we're doing a
Right,
screech
right,
and then
right,
you hear AJ scream no and people are like why is he screaming no? Well, because we had to drink
And I think
alcohol when he did it.
did I not do a chug of that before or after?
You went for another one after.
after. Okay. Time doesn't exist in that 4-hour frame.
Hey, 50 burger though, boys.
50 burger. I do want to propose this before we jump into anything. It's
Okay.
just going to close up this whole kind
Colts
of
game?
conversation. We used to do the scores, and we still do, but we used to run through them and get people's score predictions.
Oh,
Burp
there
him
it
if you
is.
got him.
Burp if you got 'em. Now we rely on an honor system, and it's been working well.
Yep.
No false claims. So what if we have our Diggs interception for a shotgun? We also have our grand slam,
Yep.
which is Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Armstrong, all getting a sack plus another Cowboy.
Any rando.
Any rando. And then why don't we also let chat pick
Something.
something for it for each game?
Okay.
That way we can have because it just got too much to take all of the scores down and
Fair.
but this we could have some fun with before a game. So
Yeah.
let's do that.
Kahuna says, for those of you wondering, the Can fans are alcoholics.
Hey man, I'm drinking fucking sparkly water right now, and I'm fucking dying.
you
I'm
guys-
I'm like shaking right
No,
now.
you guys who watch the stream, you watch 90% of the beers and of the alcohol I drink. Probably up more than 90%. I don't really drink outside of
This
the cast.
this cast
Anymore.
This cast doubles you up. You know.
Yeah, it doubles you.
Oh,
up.
absolutely.
Okay, so guys, let's get into some Cowboys talk here. We
Yeah,
got
okay.
it.
Yes.
What?
Let-
You
so
got chat? Let's
chat-
hear what chat wants to say.
Yeah. So a
Get them fucking out. Let's hear what they
Let's
say.
hear.
a lot of questions
Are
from
they
chat.
calling?
So,
Are they calling AJ a marijuana addict? Also,
Hey!
a pothead and a sex
might be
addict.
smoke
true.
weed every day.
Oh damn! I don't have my thing up. First off, Caesar Garza, he asked it in TikTok, then he came over to the YouTube. He wants
nice.
to know, what is your opinion on OBJ?
That's
It's
what
the
I was gonna
biggest
bring up.
news, so bring it up.
So
Let's
that's
go,
what I was
doggy.
going to bring up. I'm actually okay. This is full disclosure. We all wanted OBJ, correct? That was over a
Hundo
month.
P.
That was over a month ago.
Yes. When we thought, oh, he's coming back.
He's going to be playing in December.
Yeah.
Like I thought possibly he would have the Texans and Jaguars game to kind of get his feet wet and then be playing against the Eagles December 24th, Christmas Eve. So I was like, yeah, let's get him. It'll be awesome. I honestly don't want OBJ. It's too late in the season. Micah came out saying that OBJ told him at the Mavs game that he'll be ready in 5 weeks. 5 weeks is the first week of playoffs. That's too late. That's too
Playoffs.
long.
Way too late.
Playoffs, we got something good going on. You don't now put in another wide receiver that hasn't been on the team the whole season. It just doesn't make sense.
hasn't played, and I also saw that stat. I think it was Tony Goat, where he showed his yards per game.
Yeah, from his rookie year, which was like 100 over
Yeah.
100 yards, and then each year it declines.
Now I'd be fine if he was kind of settling in that 60 to 70 yard range, because then that's like a healthy amount of yards per game.
But he was down like all the way to like 40, wasn't he?
Yeah, so it was like at that point, and it was like just consistently
Yeah.
getting lower. So what are you going to bring him on for another 40 yards, which basically is just what Noah Brown does anyways?
At the start, like week one, the wild card. At this point, it doesn't make sense. I think the whole thing's kind of a distraction at this point. Like I said, we all wanted OBJ. That was when we thought he even had a chance to play the Thanksgiving Day game. Remember?
exactly.
Because we were like, oh, maybe we got a chance. We were talking about buying OBJ jerseys because we thought he'd be on the team prior to Thanksgiving. At this point, I think we stick with what we got. James Washington's going to be coming back. Michael Gallup coming off his 2 touchdown game is starting to look like the Michael Gallup we all expect. CeeDee Lamb's came on fucking tough. So
And I just want to continue on with CeeDee Lamb here because I
Yeah,
was thinking
do it.
about it. I shared that little kind of stoned Twitter fucking.
in the mind of AJ,
But basically, I
BW2.
wanted to see like what's he really performing like, and I'm a total what have you done for me lately type of guy in fantasy football too. I don't care if you got
Selfish.
I know, but I don't care if you had your first 4 weeks kind of carrying over your stats, but you really become average for the rest of the season. When we look at CeeDee Lamb, he's performing as a number 5 right now in his last 4 games. I also went back and looked at some of his
Like top 5, you mean?
top 5, sorry,
Yeah.
wide receiver. And this is just in yards and average yards per
Yep.
game. So it's nothing fancy. I'm just looking at those straight facts. And then you go back and look at how he's been playing. I used to think he was really kind of not a very physical player.
Oh, he's physical.
He is, I don't know if I'm just noticing it more, but the last 4 games, he's been like lowering his shoulder on
yeah.
the sideline, fighting for those extra yards.
He's actually known for his his yard after catch, because you're right. I mean, he doesn't look like he doesn't look like a DK Metcalf or a Debo Samuel. Like, he's not built like a brick shithouse, but
he's strong.
He's strong and he's tenacious. We'll say. I think that's the first time that word's ever been dropped on the gas.
Whoa! Wow! Hey,
Tenacious.
look at the big brain on him.
Doesn't have alcohol and my brain
at the
just
big
opens.
brain on Ant.
No booze in my brain. Like,
I don't like it.
I'm like Rain Man over here.
I don't like it. Get this man a drink. I think it's definitely then a difference of his play from the beginning of the season. It seems like.
So I honestly think so. Right now, even with like the whole year with CeeDee Lamb, he's right now I think 9th in yards in the NFL. That's with Cooper Rush as his quarterback for 4 or 5 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I fully believe if he had Dak the whole year, he's probably, like you said, up there in all, like he has been since Dak's been back, but I think he'd be up on all the main categories for wide receiver top 5.
My season bold prediction is he's going to end up 6th. He'll end up just out of the top.
Just
5.
out of the top 5.
I wonder what it is because a lot of the times when you see CeeDee Lamb and those plays where he's trying to catch it, but he's already thinking about what he's going to do after the run, and he fucks up. And we've seen it. We saw it last year. We saw it a lot this first half of the season. Now he's clicking. Now he's actually getting those yak. I want to say yak yardage, but that's.
You can say
Yardage.
it. Well, yeah.
You can say
Yard after catch. I mean, it still makes sense.
He getting some of that yak.
Yak yardage.
Getting that yak from Dak.
Getting that yak from Dak.
Yak from Dak, baby.
YouTube. It's not what it sounds like. That doesn't mean what it sounds like.
Yak from Dak. That should be a T-shirt.
I just want to quickly chime in on the OBJ thing because I obviously in true bandwagon boy fashion, I was hyped. I wanted that OBJ jersey.
Yep.
I think he's a solid player. Barry Grant Jr. brings up a really good point in chat that it's not a very fair stat to follow considering bad QB plays in those years.
With Baker Mayfield, yeah.
So exactly, which is why I think if you look at what he did in LA in his Bitcoin era with the Rams, and then possibly getting signed to the Cowboys, the biggest thing, and Anth brought it up, is the fact that if he's not going to get any regular season pulls, I don't want to take the risk of spending that money in playoffs. Even if like. I would rather them spend the money on something else over a wide receiver right now.
Like a cornerback?
Like a cornerback, based on the
Possibly.
situation that we're running in. Based on wherever else. I mean, I don't even know all of the free agents that are available right now, but it's like.
At this time of the year, most of the good ones are
But
snagged. Snagged and bagged.
We're in a position right now where, my confidence has been high more than not, and it was pretty low sometimes throughout the season.
At the when was the confidence lowest?
The loss to Green Bay was a low one because I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be this up down type of season, and we're gonna end up, who knows where we're gonna end up in playoffs. It's gonna be. It felt like it was gonna be rough, so that was a pretty low part. That was the lowest part of the season, I think, for me.
Was it?
I think so.
See,
because the losses previous were like, oh, okay.
Well,
Dak got hurt.
Eagle. Yeah, Dak got what? We freeze.
No, we're back.
Okay,
We're back.
But
the Dak.
something did crash.
The Dak getting hurt. Should we just keep talking?
Yeah, you keep talking.
So the Dak getting hurt, and Tampa Bay. That was a low point for me because I thought without Dak we were fucked. The Eagles game, not so much because we had Cooper Rush, but although he had been playing so well that I kind of thought he could pull it off. And then the only reason the Green Bay game didn't really completely make me feel bummed out is because I just expect it from Aaron Rodgers against us for some reason. I just get that feeling. Like I had that feeling in my head that Rodgers would just somehow do it. So I was kind of already mentally preparing myself for it a little bit. But I do know what you mean. Like that's a team we should have beat. We were up by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and we ended up losing. So I know what you mean. It could, and then who knows what happens when we play. Then we have the Vikings the following week. So that could have, it makes sense for a time to be kind of a little on the fence.
To me, it felt like it was a recipe game where it's like, oh, this is how you beat the Cowboys. And now every team was just going to start mimicking that.
I agree.
But luckily, like you said, the ingredient that not every team has in its spice rack is the Aaron Rodgers special.
Fuck that guy.
And I don't, Kahuna's saying, and I don't know if he's talking to us, he's saying, dude, after that week 1, you guys wanted to tank after losing Dak, which I don't think we
No,
ever said
I don't
we
think
wanted to tank.
none of us wanted to tank. We just basically were saying you guys are what I was preaching as well. Everyone hates Dak. We're about to see what this team is like without Dak, and then we went 4-1.
I'll admit it.
Which is good. Which is good. Which is
Dude.
what you said. It's good.
Wait, I'm happy we went 4-1. But
100%, I will admit it. I was like, okay, if we scrape out of this with 1 or 2 wins, then Dak comes back and we still have a playoff shot.
Which isn't out of the realm. If we would have, say, it's like, obviously this is hypothetical because it didn't happen. We went 4-1 with Cooper Rush.
Yep.
But if we would have only won 1 or 2 games and then came back and still won the games we've won right now, we'd be right in contention for the last wild card spot. So, anyways, it doesn't matter because we are fighting for we got the 5th wild card spot right now. What does matter, huge injury and kind of Dak-esque, where there's a lot of people who don't like this guy and who bitch about this guy, who is Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown is out for the rest of the season with an Achilles tear, and it's one of those things. Well, now we're going to find out if these kids behind him in Calvin Bossman Joseph and Duron Not So Bland, if they're going to be able to step up to the plate. Losing Jordan Lewis earlier in the season was a big blow, but then losing another one of our CB2, it could wind up biting us in the butt holes. But we did. Who's this cat that we went out and signed? This cornerback that we signed.
Well, I just looked up Anthony Brown.
Just type in just type in Dallas Cowboys signing, free agent signing.
And actually, while Alex is doing that, do we want to intro our guest and have him chime in on this new signing?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is he in the waiting room?
He's been waiting. He's just been trying to chime in here.
He'll know.
I see him waving at the Zoom screen, trying to flag me down.
Bring the man in.
Okay, I'll bring him on.
We'll let him introduce himself. He's a man of great intro. So once we can hear him, I'll let him give himself an introduction.
Okay?
What?
There you go.
What's
buddy.
up, man? Can you hear me good?
Hello. Yes.
Coming in loud and clear. What's going on, Mike?
I'm feeling good after that beat down, being in Dallas and witnessing that live. So
Hey, Mike,
nothing better. Nothing better.
Let's hear for the people that are listening, who you are, what you do, and how you became a big Cowboys fan. Because you kind of got a big following on Twitter going on, and you have a kind of, I'd say, like a, I don't know. I don't know what I'd even call it.
Presence.
It's like a niche, like his intro video that he does every game.
And we see you're sitting. It looks like you're sitting in the studio right now.
It's no studio. This is the Cowboys cave.
The
This
Cowboys
is where
cave. Sorry.
This is where I watch the games, where I'm not at AT&T, but I'm on all social media platforms. You can get me at mtag1993, or just you can Google Mike Tag. Huge Cowboys fan, been a fan my whole life. A lot of the promos and stuff you guys see, that's stuff I did when I was a kid. I was a big wrestling fan.
Yeah.
You probably see some influence of Ric Flair and
Yes.
Harlem Heat and stuff like that. You know how it goes.
Yeah, we know how it goes. So I have a question for you. You were obviously at the Colts game. Are you from the Dallas Fort Worth area or the Metroplex area? Or are you from somewhere else in Texas or California, or where are you from?
No, born and raised in South Florida.
Okay.
And got 2 older brothers. My oldest is a Dolphins fan, middle brother's a Broncos fan, and I'm a Cowboys fan.
You're the Cowboys guy. Okay, so you
brothers, you got to fight over everything. So my mom got a Cowboy shirt, got me a Cowboy shirt when I was, as far as I can remember, and then I just identified with Tony Dorsett and and the rest of the Cowboys. They stunk when I was growing up. They weren't any good until the 90s, till I was in, almost getting out of high school.
And then you could rub it in everyone's face. I've been a Cowboys fan. I've been through the thick of it. Now I can brag a little bit. That's awesome. So you were at the Colts game. Obviously, it was a pretty close game prior to the fourth quarter. What was the fan? Was it? Did it feel like a home game? Was there lots of Colts fans, or was it predominantly Cowboys fans kicking around?
No, it was mostly Cowboy fans. The interesting thing is when I love going to the Sunday night games. This game, when I got there, it just didn't have that vibe. It was kind of quiet. Went there early to tailgate with a lot of the fans, and the parking lot was half empty.
Yep.
The crowd really didn't get going until the game started. So I was a little concerned because I had, flashbacks to when I went to the Broncos game.
Ooh.
And it just came out real flat and looked like, and then they had the red stripe.
I was going to say, they had the
helmet.
They had the helmets again. So you had both games where they had the red stripes. So you must
yes,
have been
and I brought the enemy to the game. I brought my buddy to the game, and that happened at the Broncos. I brought a Broncos fan. So I was getting nervous I was going to be the jinx. And then the game started for some reason, the way we start, it's always slow.
Yep.
But, I knew we were going to be too much for them. I didn't think they would move the ball on us. So I knew it was a matter of time.
Matt Ryan was going to Matt Ryan. So moving forward here, I got to ask you, we were kind of talking about it prior to you getting in on the chat here. Crack him if you got him over there.
Got him.
What do you think about our cornerback position? Are you worried about losing Anthony Brown and obviously Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown, our quarterback 2 and 3, are now gone for season. Are you worried, or do you think we have the players behind them that can step in and possibly be the Band-Aid effect to get us through the rest of the season and into playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned because now you got your 1, and now you're down to your 4-5.
Yep.
And behind that, you get 6, and not much after that. And I think you guys were talking about it earlier. It's not like there's a bunch of players sitting out there at this point of the season. I wouldn't mind if they got I know they picked up a guy from Minnesota. I wouldn't mind if they would have got
Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, a veteran back is someone to give maybe a little calm to it. Maybe they don't need to start, but just someone there if one of these young guys get in trouble. But my son is a big Kelvin Joseph fan, and he assures me that Bland is going to be fine, but Kelvin Joseph is going to step up with the opportunity, and he's going to show what he's got, the last few games into the playoffs.
I hope so. I mean, Calvin Joseph is kind of obviously with the off the field stuff in the off season, and he's just kind of been lackluster. Like, you haven't really seen much for him, so maybe this is something he needs. Maybe he needs to go into the game being that guy for his true potential to shine through. I hope that's the case. I hope our second round pick comes out and ends up playing lights out, but I'm nervous right now about our cornerback room. I was actually, Anthony Brown, we had talked about it. He had been having his issues with the deep ball. So maybe with a mixture of Deron Bland and Kelvin Joseph, maybe we shore that up a bit. But I don't think Anthony Brown is as bad a player as everyone made him out to be. Like he was predominantly getting the looks because no one was really throwing to Diggs' side, right? So eventually you're going to complete some of these passes, but I am worried about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's Brown. He's been the whipping boy on the defense. He's the one that everyone's kind of pointing to. So we're going to find out real quick if he's underappreciated or what we got. But seeing Bland in there, at that game with the 2 picks and that last pick he did where he snatched the ball, from the receiver, he's been showing something all year. So I feel good with him, but Kelvin Joseph, to me, the jury's still out.
Yeah,
but totally. One of those guys get hurt, man, we're in trouble.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
We're fucked. We cannot have another cornerback go down, especially even if they don't play great, we cannot have another cornerback get hurt, especially a guy like Deron Bland, like you said, he's whenever he's out there, he makes plays. Everyone loved him in training camp. Was a 5th round pick, has been playing very well when he's had the opportunities. And then, we cannot have that.
Yeah. So, are you guys going to another game, or you guys? And I saw you at the Minnesota game, and you guys bringing some hype. And I was getting a little jealous. I was thinking, man, how come I wasn't invited to this Minnesota game? I was disappointed.
Well, so last year we went to the Thanksgiving game when we played against the Raiders at Dallas, and then we said, okay, with Thanksgiving that was a solid time to go. It was a good week. Because it's 4 days apart, traveling from the west coast of Canada all the way over to Dallas, it just makes more sense for us. We could take a week off, hit 2 games in 1 week. So that's why we went to the mini game. And then when we went to the Thanksgiving game, it just made a lot of sense. We're talking about hopefully going to a wild card or another playoff game, depending
head down to Tampa Bay, possibly. It's looking like I think we have a good chance of playing Tampa Bay. We're gonna try to time it and buy some tickets at some decent prices, and we're gonna try to get to the wild card. Or it'd be sweet to hold out and fucking go. I would love to go to an NFC Championship game, man, but we've been waiting a while for that. But we do want to go to a playoff game.
Well, if you come to Tampa, that's where I live. That's my town. So I will show you.
Damn.
I will show you the respect that you guys deserve, and we'll make sure we light this town up because I'm going to be there. There's no doubt about it. And there's probably a 90% chance we're playing Tampa.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to catch Philly, and I think whoever the wild card team in the NFC East is going to end up playing Tampa. Tampa's going to be the 4 seed. So
yeah, I think you're right. 100%.
Yeah.
It's more than likely we're going to be, and the Tampa keeps they're ahead of Atlanta right now. I can't see Atlanta catching them just because Atlanta's not that good. Like
no.
Tampa still has Tom Brady. They're gonna finish the top of that division, and then we're gonna go down there and get our first win against Brady.
Oh yeah,
that one. I don't like. I was praying, and I'm praying, but I was hoping Philly would have stumbled against Tennessee, and I gotta give them props, man. They look pretty damn good. I think we're going to beat them when we play them. I'll be there. I'll be at AT&T to see us slap them around. So I have no doubts. These eyes, I tell people, they don't believe me. These eyes, I've been to a bunch of Philly Cowboy games through the years, starting in 1996. I've never seen us lose against them in person, so I'm not going to start on Christmas Eve, that's for sure.
Good. I got a question for you. Have you ever been to Philly to see the game?
No, I wouldn't give them a nickel. I went to Philly for the draft. I went to the Philly for the draft, and you guys look, I've watched your show. You guys are pretty loose. So I brought my son, who at the time, he might have been 13 or 14, whatever it was. And I didn't wear my jersey. I'm like, I don't want to, I just don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
But my son was a huge Des Bryant fan. He was insistent on wearing the jersey. He ended up getting on NFL Network. He's trying to steal my spotlight. He got on NFL Network with it thrown up the X. We got on ESPN. But we're walking back from the draft. It was such a great experience. And these grown men in cars are telling my son, fuck you, fuck the Cowboys. He's 12. I'm thinking to myself, I said, this is, so I would never support nothing in that city. Yep. I think their fans are trash.
Yep.
And but it's funny when they come to Dallas, and maybe it's these are the guys that can afford to travel. When they come to Dallas, they're very nice, very cordial, very always reaching out. Hey, can I get a picture? Can we talk? Can we this? And so it's always the chirping on the internet or on social media or when they're in their crib. But it seems like when they're out of their crib and out of their element and out of the pack, they show their true colors.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things about, and I'm sure you experience it more than we do, but it's just being a Cowboys presence online and having any sort of social media presence. You're not even looking to reach out to you're not going to other players' social medias or other users from other teams and making comments. The amount of people who just come to a Cowboys page from other teams to shit on it. It's like,
unreal.
Well, the funny thing about that when you say that is like a lot of the times I'll post something that has nothing to do with said team or like said topic, and someone will just come to look for a fight. I'm like, all right, well, I'll argue with the stranger for no reason, but yeah, we talked about going to Philly, but the more I talk to people about it, fuck that place.
Nah, I'm not giving them my money, but it's funny, social media. So when I first, the first video I did was back, I don't know I'm sure you guys remember when we played the Saints. It was like 2018.
Yep.
Saints were undefeated. We were going in there, and a buddy of mine, big Cowboys fan, I'm like, dude, we're going to win this game. I'm so sick of I'm sick of all the crap. I said, I'll drop an old school promo, and I'm going to send it to you. So we won, and I did it, and I wasn't a social media guy. I followed some of the players and stuff like that. And guy I work with, he's like, man, you need to post that on Twitter and just, tag, you're wearing your tank jersey, tag him. So I did. He retweeted it, and then it blew up.
Nice.
And so in the first year, I would do these videos because people kept wanting them. And the amount of hate, and in the beginning, you're reading it and it's pissing you off. You're like, man, and so I'm replying to every one of the haters, man. Fuck you, this, and I'm cracking on them back or whatever. And now it's gotten to the point where I just kind of ignore it. Yep. I just let it. Usually that first wave is positive, and then afterwards it is, it's all negative. But I don't know if you guys get this. Whenever the Cowboys lose, how many of your friends that you haven't talked to in years come out of the woodwork and they start texting you? But when we win, I haven't heard from people in a month. Yeah. But man, when we lose, I hear from people I haven't talked to in years.
Well, last year's a perfect example for it. You don't hear anything from anyone when we're 12-5, and then as soon as you lose in the wild card, like I could see my phone just blowing. Oh yeah. As soon as Dak did the scramble with 14 seconds left, my phone just. Bloop, 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 bloop. I'm like, you fucking dicks.
Like he it's not only that go ahead and crack that.
Crack
that.
Let's go, baby.
Anth gets bummed out, obviously, because the Cowboys lose, and he's already starting to shut down. And then he just knows the next 3 days are going to be like texts from friends, and then the next 4 or 5 days is going to be battling either Cowboy fans online, because Cowboy fans love to battle each other about, like, case in point, last week we won. We had a 50 burger, and we had 3 Cowboy fans on the call-in, all arguing with each other about a win. Like it's just so polarizing.
Some making more sense.
Nitpicking the win. You dropped 50 on them and you're saying, well, we got a lot of work to do. We got to improve on that. But Jesus God, man, you just dropped 50. I don't care how you got it. You beat them 54-19 or whatever the score was. What more do what more do you guys want?
Actually, the best thing about it is, and you can eye test it, there is a lot of improvements that we can make even after we win. And that's a good sign. Hey, we won by 50, 33 points in the fourth quarter. It's a 50 burger, and yet there's still a massive room of improvement in certain areas. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if there's much we want to talk about specifically about the Texans and Cowboys game. If anyone has anything specific to bring up, the alternative is we can kind of just roll. We did this last week, but I'd love to hear, Mike, what your thoughts are just on the rest of the season outlook here. But if there is something specific about Texans, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I want to talk about it quickly.
Okay.
We're in this. I hate how the schedule ended up being. I hate that we play these 3 AFC South teams at the end of the year, where I wish we were playing all the good teams. Like, I just don't want us playing all these shit teams. Like, obviously we have the Eagles on Christmas Eve, which is a very good bar setter to see how we are going into playoffs. But I just don't like having these easier teams kind of in the last month and a bit of the season. Like, I guess Eagles, Titans, Commanders going into playoffs isn't terrible. Like, that should 2 of those teams are possible playoff teams. Well, even the Titans, all 3 of those teams have a chance to make playoffs. So it's not too bad, but I just hate this AFC South tour that we're on right now. It's not exciting. It doesn't feel exciting. Like, I'm not as hyped for the games coming up. I don't know if you feel that. You kind of said that, Mike, with how the stadium was. Like, I don't know. Do you feel less hyped knowing we're playing the Texans and Jaguars in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, Texans, it's not really exciting. We should smoke them, move on. Jaguars, the only good thing is I live in Florida, so I'm going to the game.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
I'll take that. And when this schedule came out, I was telling you, I said, the Jaguars are a team you don't want to play near the end of the season. I think they're getting better, and they were going to get better, and now they have. But I guess Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if he's hurt. I was reading something where he's had a foot injury or something like that. So if he doesn't play, they're going to get smoked. But, to your point, the last 3 games, you're talking about Philly. You can't get better than that on Christmas Eve. So that is absolutely going to mean a lot. Tennessee is playing. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to win their division, right? Because they've got nothing in there, but they got something to play for. I think Washington is going after that last playoff spot. Yeah. They're going to have a lot to play for. And the thing I always talked about last year, which I love about this year, last year we weren't battle tested. We were in a crap division, walked away with it, and we were on cruise control. They're not going to be able to do that now. I mean, even the Texans and the Jags, you can't take them lightly, because all we need is Philly to stumble once. And that's that Christmas Eve game is going to take a whole new meaning, because they lost to Washington, so we got the tiebreaker now, even if we split. So I like the way it ends. I mean, you want to be back, but I think those last 3 games, they're going to be battle tested, and they're going to be fighting their way all the way, to the end of the playoffs. They're not going to be resting guys or doing anything like that.
No, when you're fighting in the wild card standings, that's the one good thing. I don't think there's the option. I hate resting starters. I honestly hate it. Even if you have locked up stuff, I don't like resting starters. It's the same as not playing guys a little bit in the preseason. I hated that this year. I hated that we didn't
Like get up a little, get up,
somebody at least. Like,
clinch the game, get up, and then get them out.
play
if
a
you
little
need to.
bit, but then you get hurt. You get someone hurt, and then you look like an
Oh yeah,
idiot.
then yeah, exactly. But
The one good thing is that I'm pretty sure the Eagles play the Giants this weekend, which hopefully we're all Giants fans this weekend. This Sunday at 10 a.m. Like I'm gonna have that.
Let's go, G-Man.
I'm gonna have that Giants Eagles game on somewhere and be watching that also because, like Mike said, all we need is these Eagles to lose one more game. Like we fucked up bad by losing that Green Bay game when they lost to the Commanders that same week. Like that was our chance to.
Yep.
That was our chance. So we need the Eagles to stumble right now, and it sucks because they're playing very well. They, like you said, they've played very well. They looked really good against the Titans. I watched that game also because I was hoping they would lose. They look like a complete team. Their defense is scary. Jalen Hurts is actually playing very well. But we just need them to stumble one more time, and then we can pounce on these fuckers Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Do you think they're as good as their record, or how's you guys feeling about the Eagles?
After the Tennessee game, because I honestly thought the Titans had a chance to beat them, and they pretty much just mopped them. I mean, but then you also had the Colts game where they barely beat the Colts. So I think they're really good. I do think they're by far our best competition, the scariest team that we'll see. I maybe thought San Fran could be, but now with Jimmy Garoppolo out, I think that takes them down a notch. The Eagles are definitely on par with us 100%.
Yeah, I think that they're a very solid team this year, specifically because I think a lot of people underestimated Jalen Hurts and what he could do. Everyone says be a pocket QB. He starts doing it, and he's doing it well. They got A.J. Brown, which is a great addition. But fact of the matter is they had I feel that their schedule was a lot easier than any other team, at least that I care about. So the fact of the matter is that their schedule is like I don't want to say it's a layup schedule, but some of these teams that they're beating by 1 point, it's like, well, we smoked them. We smoked that team that they played. So I don't think that their record dictates the type of team that they actually are, but I still think they're a top tier team. I still think they're neck.
Well, I
and
have a
neck with
follow-up
us.
question then for that. If because they're right now pretty much the consensus number one team in the NFL according to their record and according to talking heads. If you don't think they are, who would you think is the best team in the NFL right now?
You're asking
The Cowboys.
Anyone?
The Cowboys?
Anyone can. Mike, you can
Yeah.
you can tag in. Hey, see what I did there?
No, I mean, the AFC. Obviously, you got the Chiefs, and and I still believe in the Bills, but I'm not as big a believer in Philly. I honestly, and you guys, people can laugh at me later, and we'll see what happens. I think the Cowboys smoke them. I think we beat them, and I think we beat them handily. I just think matchup makes fights, and the only 2 wins that they've had. I always got to remind these Eagle fans. The only 2 times they beat Dallas in the last 3+ years, they beat DiNucci and they beat Cooper Rush.
Yep.
I mean, that's a fact. They may not like to hear it. They may only want to talk about the last time we played and they beat us, but those are the facts. And I just think Dallas is going to get them. I don't think it's the last time we're going to see them.
Right.
I was more worried about San Francisco.
Yeah.
I did not want to play San Francisco.
Yeah.
I was looking at the way it matched up, and I was like, you know what? If we're whatever seed we are, the 1 or the 5, more than likely we won't have to see San Francisco unless something crazy happens to the championship game. Now, obviously with Garoppolo, that changes some, but that's a team I was worried about.
We were too. Like I think last week we were saying, well, San Fran, they're just such a complete team. I even think with this Brock Purdy guy, just they have such an overall good team and decent coaching that they're still scary. They would still 100% give Dallas troubles.
I feel that San Francisco is scarier for us than the Eagles.
Well, yeah, it's just history, like Mike said, history wise, 100%.
My thoughts on the Eagles. I mean, I hate them.
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them.
So it's really hard to say anything nice. But Hurts, I thought he was just more of a really athletic football player, and was able to throw the ball, did it enough throughout college that he just became a quarterback. He's a very athletic person. But he did show in that last game that he's like, it's almost like he listens to this podcast and said, fine, okay, I'll show you I can throw the ball. So, okay, that's a little bit I'll give him props there. Now I think that he actually is who we think he is, or who people say that he is, and I'll buy that. But even if the Cowboys can score from almost all sides of the ball, special teams, maybe not as much as defense and offense, of course, but that's the nice thing is the defense has been scoring a lot of points too. So even if our offense has some trouble rolling, we can count on the defense that they're going to have that potential as well. So I think in a shootout, we win a shootout, and I'm not scared of us not being able to put points on the board. So that's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, we stifle their offense and still be able to outscore them. So yeah, I'm extremely biased being a part of a Dallas Cowboys podcast here, but
well, I hope you say that. My biggest worry is right now we're all talking about the Cowboys, Eagles, and I was even this way with the Colts because it still kind of had that same energy. Like, obviously, professional football players aren't going to overlook a team, but it makes me nervous going into a game again like this Texans game. And even the Jaguars game where we 100% should win. I think we're like 17-point favorites or something crazy. Like, we 100% should win that game. No issues. But it's still the NFL, and I do feel like sometimes these kind of games in past seasons, the Cowboys sometimes let a game like this slip.
Dude, the Texans have scored.
I know they're shit.
Like, I think maybe just 3 scores, and that includes a kick with one of those scores, by the way, in like the last 4 games.
And then that's the thing.
Under.
This is I might need this just as a Cowboys fan. I just need us. I said I wanted to see us absolutely skullfuck the Colts, which we did. 54 to crack him if you got him over there, which we did, which I loved. But I would love to see us do that to the Texans and the Jaguars. I hope we cover the spread. I hope we kill them. I hope we put up another 50 burger, and then I can kind of start. You know, good teams in the NFL that go on to win Super Bowls, when they're matched up against inferior opponents, they lay ass whoopings. And I need to see us continue to do that in the next 2 weeks. Before I even, like, obviously the Eagles is a sexy game that we all want to talk about, but I'm still I am nervous about this Texans game.
What do you think?
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
I can't help it.
There is no way in hell this Texas. I mean, hopefully I don't have to eat my words, but there ain't no way. They got no talent.
No, they
the Jaguars, I would give a little bit if Lawrence is there. And I mean, they do have some young talent. I just can't see this Texans team. Boy, that'd be an embarrassment if we don't smoke them. I mean, but that's the thing. Talking about this team, we've dropped 50, we've dropped 40, in the last few weeks. So we're putting up points.
Yep.
And the teams that only worry. I don't worry about these finesse teams so much like Philly, but again, to San Francisco or these physical teams, that's what we haven't proven ourselves against yet over the past few seasons. But yeah, it would be I don't want to think. Don't even let me think about losing.
Sorry,
to the Texans.
my insecurities are leaking over to you.
Hey, Mike, if Anth is starting to be worried and thinking something's going to go a certain way,
it's going to be the opposite.
It's going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
So I
Okay, that's why that made me feel better.
What do you guys think about Tank Spikes in the chat saying if Cowboys have a strong first quarter and match their third and fourth quarter, the only thing we'll have to worry about is beating the refs and penalties? 3 penalties last game.
That was nice.
That was huge. I think, in terms of discipline, and that was a tough reffing squad that was at the Colts Cowboys game. So it's not like it was just, easy refs to have. That they do call a lot of penalties.
It was nice.
They're the bad boy reffing crew.
They're the bad boy reffing
bad
crew
boys
of the
of
NFL.
It was nice to see only 3 penalties. I'm sure Mike was happy at the game that it wasn't a game filled with flags. Like we've been unfortunate that but both Thanksgiving Day games that we went to, I think this year we had 13 and last year we had 14. It was just like, what the fuck it just felt like every play there was a flag almost. So I hope that is a trend going forward, the under 5 penalties in a game.
Yeah, and I was at that Thanksgiving Day game with you. I didn't
really?
see you there, but I was there, and that was my son and I went. It was the first time ever going to Thanksgiving, and the flags. Now you bring flashbacks. Yeah, that was unbelievable, the amount of flags, and the part of the penalties that get me are the pre-snap penalties. Those are the killer, the holding penalties that on a run play where the guy's not even involved. They definitely, the mental breakdown, the personal fouls that we got a few times, post play. That's the stuff they got to clean up. The other, hitting a guy too hard or man, that's football. If they got to do that, then, whatever it is. But it seems like they're getting better. And the thing I'll say, and I don't know you guys' feeling, I don't want to switch the script on you, but I've always appreciated McCarthy, and I thought he was the right guy for this team, for the way this ownership and the way this franchise is set up. I know he's gotten a lot of heat. I know there's a lot of hate with him, but I think he's done a phenomenal job with this team over the last – over his 3 years, thinking about the times, he lost Dak twice. And especially this year, he's been able to salvage that and get some wins together because I remember, after week 1, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I saw all social media. They just thought we were dead and it was going to be over and everyone's bashing this and that. So I think McCarthy will get it.
We bought tickets right away after the week 1 because like they're going to be so cheap tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we bought tickets right away. That's how we felt.
And I had to faith, but he's done a great job. And I think he's, with the penalties, it's going to get there with Quinn, obviously. The concern I've always had was with Moore on offense, but he seems to be getting a little bit better over the last few games. So I think they're going to get it all. I think it'll all fix itself. You never want your defense not to be aggressive, but if they just clean up those pre-snap penalties that are just the killers, the third down and they give them a first down kind of penalties, like that, whatever the chat was, I think this team, they're going to be, a very tough out in the playoffs.
So with the Mike McCarthy thing, his first year, during, I'm not going to even say the C word, but during the pandemic, he definitely got handed a short stick there with Dak breaking his ankle and then not having a training camp. Like it was kind of like, all right, this season, this wasn't on you. Like this is, he lost, I think, all of his offensive linemen. Anyways, 2020, complete pass. Last year, getting to the playoffs. Okay, sweet. There was big progression. And I was just always saying that this year I need to see the next step from the team under him. Like I can't handle another wild card loss. Like I'm being honest. I physically will not be able to handle us watch another wild card loss. I just really want to see him get this team deep into the playoffs. And my only issue with Mike McCarthy, I actually don't mind Mike McCarthy. I still think he needs to go back to his beard. He looked better with a beard. But
I agree.
I do think he sometimes his clock management and some of the stuff that he should be taking care of, because obviously he's not calling defensive plays and obviously he's not calling offensive plays. I think there's sometimes situations where he just needs to be a bit more on the ball with either challenging a call or calling a timeout or just getting the guys out there. Like they didn't even, like, last year going into the wild card round, I remember them showing San Francisco coming out and these guys are listening to boom boxes and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, Mike McCarthy, I think, came out and said, oh, the guys seemed nervous going out there, or he said something weird. So just, there's some weird things with Mike McCarthy that I hope him getting to the divisional or hopefully the NFC Championship game buys him another season. Because I would like to see him again. We have played very well underneath him. So
yeah. I mean, but I was at the San Francisco game, the wild card game.
Okay. Pause the Mike McCarthy talk. Let's talk about Mike Tag for a second. How many fucking games do you see, live games do you see in a year?
Well, I'm a season ticket holder. It was one of my goals when I was a kid to be a season ticket holder.
Nice.
And I have a allotted budget, right? The family lets me get that allotted budget.
There you go.
So I'm strategic in the games that I go to. And then fortunately, obviously, with Dallas going to Jacksonville, that's great. Next year, Dallas plays Miami. Yep. That's a good one. Dallas could potentially play Atlanta. So I look in the schedule. They're going to play Tampa more than likely if we're both. Well, it depends if we finish same, but probably not. But if they would have played Tampa, here. So I try and figure it out. And I usually go to 4 games at AT&T. Then I sell my other tickets. To
fund everything else.
Yeah,
but you don't make money off it, man. I'm telling you, these guys, they give us a hard time for selling tickets, and I pay a seat license, and I don't need to get into it. StubHub, they're basically, they're crooks, they're the scalpers.
Yep.
They take all your money. I don't make, I make a little bit over what the ticket cost is, but
Yeah.
it doesn't cover the seat license.
Okay.
So I would much prefer, I try and find people I can sell them to privately.
Right.
And I would sell them at a better price. And then that way they don't have to pay a fee. I don't have to pay a fee.
Yeah, you don't
now
get
you got, the government's trying to take all my ducats and they want to 1099 you for selling the tickets and stuff like that. But they forget all the expense you have of the other things. But no, I love going to the games. It was a goal of mine when I was a little kid. And 4 years ago or whatever it was, I was able to get season tickets. And so it's awesome. I love going, man.
Question for
This
you.
is the Federal Bureau investigation.
Question for you. With that seat licensing shit, do you have to pay that every year?
Every year. You got to pay
Wow.
for 20 years, I think it is.
I didn't know.
Or you could pay it off. You can
Right.
pay it off if you want to.
God,
That's
yeah,
wild.
Because I when Vegas got the team, we looked at getting season tickets to Vegas, and it fell through, obviously. But I have looked at getting Cowboys season tickets because I just always thought, like, if I plan on going to a couple games a year for the rest of my life, I was like, if I have these tickets, well, I'll just sell the rest, and at least I'll still come out on top by having, even if they just pay for the tickets and I don't make money, it's still going
Yeah.
to be cheaper than what I end up paying for a ticket to be in the nosebleeds, right? Like,
Yeah. So
like that Thanksgiving Day game, we spent like a ticket to be in the nosebleeds last year, not this year, last year. It was like what, $330 US?
Yeah.
Before any of the fees we paid. So like, even if you just got your face value ticket in the nosebleeds for your $75 or whatever the hell it is, you'd be laughing.
yeah, I have club seats.
Nice.
And
Holla!
Oh, fuck.
yeah, you got to be a big roller, man. That's the way it is. But they're not cheap. But it was, to your point, was I would go to the games and I would be spending the same I'm paying for club. I was paying to sit, up top,
Yep.
at key games. So that I said, screw that. So I just did it. And really the seat license is an investment, not to get all, get on a thing, but eventually if I sell them, I can sell the seat license too. Like that's what I did when I upgraded my seats. I sold my old seats, put the money I made off that. And then, so there's a little
Loopholes.
skill to it.
Yeah.
We'll definitely we'll talk.
Well,
Yeah.
I've honestly looked in. I would look at they have a seat, like I think it's like slcseat.com
Yes.
or something.
Yep.
I always occasionally, and you know what? During the pandemic would have been the time to do it. I was looking at it. I was like, God damn, these seat licensing are cheap as hell right
Yeah.
now, because people were nervous that who knows what's gonna happen, right?
The
But-
issue with us CanFan crew is that there's 3 of us, so we definitely, and then maybe it's an advantage, we'd have to find a 4-banger, and then basically we could raffle off or we could do gigiveaways.
Oh, yeah, you'd buy
for
4.
the seat. So
You'd
Yeah,
buy
you want to
4.
come spend a game with us?
Yeah.
Watch AJ get
Hey, if one of you guys
AJ.
make it down to Jacksonville, my daughter, she had to bail on the game for school, so I got one ticket. I got one extra ticket for the
Are we
Jaguars.
sending someone with Mike Tag to Jacksonville?
AJ's going on a Greyhound tomorrow to make it for Sunday. 86 hours on a Greyhound. He's on his way.
Mike, there's three hot topics that we visit here once in a while, and some of them we make hot ourselves, and so I don't know if they're hot outside of our own conversation here. But one of them is our tight end group. The other one is Kellen Moore, and is he good? Is he bad? He's hard to read. I mean I don't get this guy. And number 3, that was number 2, is the Dak hate. So I kind of want to roll back to the top of that list and maybe just we can have your perspective.
Crack me if you got him.
Crack me if you got him
Yeah.
on those 3
Love-
things. So,
I love the tight ends. I love the tight ends. I think what you're going to see next year, obviously, I think Schultz will be gone.
Yep.
They're not going to pay him.
Yep.
But I love Ferguson and Hendershot. I think they hit gold. And that's the other thing too, is this staff doesn't get the credit for the draft picks that they've made either. I mean, look at McCarthy's 3 years that he's been here and look at the talent they've accumulated, and they've built through the draft, and that's where they get a lot of heat. They didn't sign Gregory. Well, and you don't like seeing anyone get hurt, but what happened there? You got everyone was screaming for Quinn. He had 1 sack. He's gone. So
Yep.
this team has done this organization, you got to give them credit. I think Will McClay is the unsung hero.
Ed says that
for the
Ed said
organization
that all the
Yeah,
time.
Will McClay, man.
Yeah.
He's the man.
So, but I love the tight ends, and I think I think that's a bad group right there.
Yeah, we label them the clone zone because they all look exactly the same and they celebrate the same and they have they're like this little pod of clones.
I can see them not signing Schulte to the franchise and then him just showing up to the stadium the next day, like
To training camp.
yeah,
he
like
shows
he's
up.
like he's still on the team. Like I just think that he's like really wants to be a Cowboy, but he kind of fucked up last year with this. I believe obviously it was an agent move that was like, no, this is what the position is worth, rather than like looking at like, yeah, but this style of QB in this, or this style of tight end in this offense is kind of a dime a dozen, really. Like there's a lot of guys out here who can do that. Now I'm not saying Schultz isn't good at what he does. I love how he's playing.
Well, and Dak has great chemistry with him, like that's undeniable.
Yeah, but if it just means that Peyton Hendershot and Ferguson are gonna be filling in that role, they can do it. We've seen it.
Like I said, they're the next. Like it's kind of like how the Patriots had the murderer and Gronk at the one point, right? Like, I love that we have these guys. Like I love when we run the 4 tight end sets, man. Like that shit's so cool. Yeah. Like who else does that? Who else has all 4 of their tight ends out that are all capable of making a big play? No one. Yeah. No one.
And I gotta ask you guys too, because at the game, I was calling it when he caught it. When Schultz catches the ball and he's fighting for yards and he's getting, wrapped up,
Fumbles.
Do you guys know he's going to fumble just like I do every single time?
We're always, when he starts
and I'm
fighting,
screaming, get down. And sure enough, he fumbled it. Thankfully, his knee was down. But that's my problem. If there's one knock you give on him, he fumbles a lot, man. And it's just, that can't happen, especially like you guys said. When you get in these playoffs, man, room for error has to be minimal. Penalties got to be down. But, like Jimmy Johnson always said, you got to win the turnover battle too.
100%. Yeah, 100. I agree with that with Schultz. Yeah, when he's fighting, it's like he's dipping his hands in butter or something. When he's fighting for yards, gets a little nervous.
Yeah, we don't need you to truck stick your way to the fucking end zone. Just go down, cover the ball.
Love the heart,
but get the fuck down. You got a first down. Get the fuck down.
You got the first down. Get down and play. He's lived to see another down. That's what he's got to do.
So Kellen Moore, we have a little. We used to call him the Dungeon Master last year, and then we kind of grew sour to his ways. And I think we all feel the same way. And we changed his moniker to Vanilla Pudding because we felt that he was just running a very vanilla pudding offense. Now, I think we dropped the Vanilla Pudding moniker and we're kind of on the fence of where to go because he's been putting up too many points to really
and there's been
call him that.
There's been some creativity like CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was in motion how many times last game? Like they are doing some stuff.
Well, the four set, the trip set.
Yeah, like they are doing some stuff that's a little bit different than everyone else. So I think I still think we need to eliminate any type of reverse from our playbook. I hate when we do these weird reverses, but I don't know what you think, Mike. I think Kellen Moore has been a little bit better in recent, like the last month or so of the season.
Yeah, he has. And again, I'm going to go back to the same thing. You guys are going to get sick of me saying it, but Mike McCarthy, if you guys remember, he called him out, earlier in the season, and he made it publicly known when they asked him about getting playmakers involved. When he was running the Packers offense, he had plays set to get all his playmakers the ball, 3 to 4, get them involved early. He said, you got to get these guys involved early. We got to commit to you got to get Zeke involved early. You got to get CD. And you saw a change in the offense. And you saw a change in the philosophy. I wasn't a huge fan of Kellen Moore. When you hire an offensive-minded coach, I think he should be picking his staff. And I know McCarthy said that he was good with Moore and he picked him. I don't necessarily believe that. But in any organization, and you guys, whatever jobs you have or whatever you do, if you're appointed to be a leader of that organization and then they tell you your right-hand man and they hand pick him for you, that's kind of cutting the legs from under you and it's not good. But I think that Moore has grown, but I think McCarthy's had a very good influence in him because if you're looking at it, you are seeing CD, getting involved early. Then now Gallup's getting going. They're getting Pollard in early. They're getting Zeke going early. You're getting a tight end. So that's what you really need to do, is to get these guys in the mindset. So if they can continue down that path and getting the playmakers involved, the sky's the limit for the offense. And that's what you've seen. I mean, when Cooper Rush was in, you heard all the people talking about Cooper Rush and, we got to keep it going and keep it going. But I mean, we had the 26th ranked offense. I mean, let's be real. It wasn't like we were lighting it up. The defense was really carrying us. But as you get going, you're going to need that offense to put up points. And if you look at when Dak came back, I mean, I think we're number one. If not, we're in the top three, right?
Points per game since Dak's been back, 100%.
I think I'm not sick of you saying it. I was very I didn't really care about Mike McCarthy too much. I felt like we like to take shots at him that he's ready to order his cheeseburger at the end of the game. Like, just the fact that
he loves Whataburger.
Growing up and playing sports is I don't know. Maybe I want the coach to be yelling. I want there to be some sort of fire. And when you look at Mike McCarthy, it's like, is he even caring to be there? So that's bad on me for putting that type of persona that I want on him, to say that, I don't like him because he's that way. I mean, different flavor for coaching styles. So I mean, I will say, all these points that you're making about Mike McCarthy and the things that you've instituted, dealing with vanilla pudding, Kellen Moore, talking about the things that we need to do, and hearing Anth talk about it, I mean, I feel pretty good about Mike McCarthy right now. Not that wasn't even a question to me. I just wanted to say that, you brought it up a bunch of times, and that kind of converted me to be like, you know what? Okay, maybe Mike McCarthy, maybe he doesn't need to be the guy who's yelling. So you have the Dan Quinn, you have the cornerback coach, you have all of the supporting staff that can be those guys, and then you just need someone to win the games. I haven't seen lots of shitty fucking time management issues this season. Like last season, how many times were we like, throw a challenge? What are you doing? Look at the clock. That's where, to me, it falls right back onto McCarthy's shoulders. We haven't seen that this year. I mean, maybe it's because he's been at the game for most of the season clean shaven. Maybe that was a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got Jerry Jones, right? I mean, that's why. And that's what I'm saying with McCarthy being the right guy. He just wants to coach, and if you listen to his interviews, you listen to his post game in the locker room, the players love him, they play for him, but he can tune out Jerry Jones, just like with all the OBJ talk and all that. He tunes it out and he's focusing on football. And sometimes you get these other, the coaches, you want that big, Jimmy Johnson, you want Bill Parcells. They're obviously Hall of Fame coaches, and you love them, but they're not going to last long here, because the egos just can't take it. McCarthy just doesn't seem like he has a big ego. He'll let Jerry run his mouth and do his post-game crap that he always does. He just wants to focus on the players and focus on football. And I think that's kind of what this team needs, because it's just, drama surrounds us. You see it all around with ESPN and NFL Network. You need a stable force in there, someone that's going to, the players love and they can surround themselves with and play for. And it seems like he's got that, obviously, with Quinn as well, and even Kellen Moore.
Right.
I think that's kind of a special thing with the Cowboys, and maybe with other organizations too, but 100% with the Cowboys. You need a coach who can deal with Jerry Jones, right? This is not something that's across the board, all NFL teams. It's maybe not necessarily unique to Dallas.
Well, how many other owners' names do you guys even know, realistically, right? And everybody,
Shaq Khan from
Robert Kraft.
Yeah, right. But everybody knows Jerry Jones, right?
Sure.
So you're right. It's definitely a unique position as a coach to deal with not only the owner, but he's also he's the GM, which we know he's kind of stepped away from that. But like Mike said, Jerry's always going to be doing Jerry's things. Have a picture come up from 60 years ago. We're not even going to get into that. But there's always going to be that wild card.
He's
Jerry
gonna say
Jones.
things. He's gonna. I actually like what you mentioned there about McCarthy ignoring the OBJ fiasco, because Jerry is just trying to keep the Cowboys in the media, and the media wants to keep the Cowboys in the media as well. So there's this double-edged sword here. That's
no matter
kind of
what he
working.
says is going to be a headline.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
And with McCarthy, you also want that personality who can not only deal with Jones, but there's that type of coach that you mentioned, Ad, that's kind of rah. And then there's the guy who is managing a football team and it trusts the people he has in position to be coaches, and it's like, no, you go coach your team. This is my expectation. or whatever conversation that they have together, and then he just lets them go and do their business. And then his job on game day is to manage the team and make sure that, he's throwing the flag and to make decisions.
Yeah.
Who knows what more pull he has with his offensive and defensive coordinators, but I take it more the way that I look at his coaching style is he's a manager of the team rather than like wanting to own kind of control of the offense or own control of the defense. And I could be wrong in that. That's just what
all I got to say is if they lose in the wild card, there's going to have to be a scapegoat. It's just the way it is. It's the way the NFL is. It's Jerry Jones is getting up there. I mean, maybe they would give Mike another. I mean, it'd be hard to fire your coach if he ends up going 14-3 or 15-2. You know, it would be hard to let him go. But I just feel like a wild card loss. If they lose in the wild card this year, I do think Mike McCarthy might get canned.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no excuse, and I've said it, I've taken a lot of crap for being a Cowboys fan like you guys have. We've all had it 27 years, and you hear playoff and this and that. No excuse for this team not to go deep in the playoffs.
100%,
there is no excuse. And I know we hold the coaches accountable, but it's really on the players. I mean, there's no excuse for this team not to go deep in the playoffs. And if they don't, then as fans, I'm going to have to take it and let them hear 28 years, can't win in the playoffs, whatever it is. I mean, because this team is built, and if you look at the way the NFC has fallen into place, it's us and Philly. San Francisco got the injury. The only thing I'll say that has me a little bit nervous is I don't want to see Tom Brady in the playoffs. I don't care how bad the Bucs are. I just wish that wasn't the game that we're probably going to end up playing.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and you want to be like, this is the
time we beat them. This is the time we beat them. I thought that was week one.
Yes. You also thought that was going to be. You thought that was going to be the Packers versus. Actually, you didn't think.
I'm just glad Green Bay's not in the playoffs. To be honest,
that too. I don't want to see. Didn't want to see Rodgers either.
I'm just glad there's no chance of Green Bay being in the playoffs.
Were you ever comfortable in that game, 14 up? Were you ever comfortable in Green Bay?
Once they showed that stat that we were 100 and whatever, and I had literally said out loud, I was like, we're gonna lose now. Like, why? Yeah. Why'd they have to show us this stupid ass stat saying that we're undefeated up 14 in the fourth?
We thought that because Anth was talking like that, it's like, oh yeah, we're going fucking 41-0. Like, fuck you, Aaron. Like, that's what we thought.
Rodgers has our number for whatever reason. I don't know why.
He does.
Our team's a lot better than that Green Bay Packers team. It's just, Micah did come out saying if we're ever up 14-0 again, the defense is not giving up that lead ever again. So I like hearing stuff like that. If you use that to get motivation going into playoffs where you might be up 14 and the defense is like, hey man, this is our chance to really put our foot down. What was your last thing you were going to ask him? The Dak.
The Dak hate. It's just
the most polarizing player in the NFL. The Cowboys quarterback always is.
Yeah, and there's obviously, I mean, if you're reading anything online, you're going to have someone come up and say polar opposites of their opinion and everything in between. So, Mike, I just want to know, we're Dak supporters, of course, but we're always open to new opinions. So I just want to hear your thoughts on Dak Prescott and maybe if any thoughts you have on like the hate that you might see online, just in terms of his play and how he doesn't. I think the biggest thing is he hasn't won the big game, and that's kind of constantly used as why no matter what you bring up statistically, that's what's always thrown up. So.
And that's the way quarterbacks are judged. I mean, it's right or wrong. You're judged on championships, and he hasn't gotten one yet. I mean, Tony Romo, he's always going to be judged by that. He's going to be, another Danny White, like they say. That's just the way it is if you don't win championships. I think he's the quarterback for this team. I think he's a great leader. Do I think he's, the best quarterback in the league? No. I mean, he can't do some of the things Mahomes does, but, he wins. And, and he's won a lot. And they say, well, he hasn't, his record against winning teams is a losing record. Well, go ahead and look at every quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. If the name's not Rodgers, name's not, Brady, they all do. They all have losing records against winning teams. So, and people have selective memory and they can pick certain things and figure out what they want. But, this team's going to go as far as Dak. If you look at the playoff game, I was, one of the, hey, that game fell on him. We can all say whatever we want.
Yeah.
He played terrible. He put him in a bad position. And that starts with, unfortunately, it starts with the quarterback. He's got to be on his game for them to get to the next level. So the pressure is on him. He says pressure is privilege. So, he owns it. It's funny is all other quarterbacks for the Cowboys, except for Quincy Carter. But most quarterbacks, I always, I'm a running back fan primarily, but I always Aikman and Romo. I always got their jersey. Dak, it took a couple years because I just wasn't sure. He had that great year in 2016 and 2017. When Zeke got suspended, he kind of tailed off. And the 2018, they made it Dak friendly, so you had to do the whole Dak friendly thing. They started slow, and then they made some. They got Cooper, and then things got better. So I just never was sure, but. That 2018 into those next seasons, I became a believer in him for what he can do. And what else do you have out there? You want to go get Russell Wilson? Look how that worked out for Denver.
Right. Hey, let's ride.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That.
But I mean, when I don't know what you guys say, and hopefully I don't get a lot of Cowboy hate for saying this, but when Brady, I'll admit it, when Brady and the Patriot thing was going, I was one of those that said, "Hey, come to Dallas." I would have taken Brady in Dallas and let Dak walk. Desperate for a Super Bowl, but I knew he'd get a Super Bowl and came to Tampa and got one. But there's not, you don't have those situations out there. Dak's, he's our best option, and he's been a great quarterback for the team. But if you don't win a championship, he's just going to be another, underachiever on the team.
You got to start putting up playoff wins and putting this team in like this fan base needs. Like I would love a Super Bowl, but I just want to see us obviously get past the wild card. I want us to obviously get past the divisional. If we make the NFC Championship game, it's like that's crap if you got them. That's like Christmas, birthday, everything all in one. Like I really hope this. I hate to say it, but we're Cowboys fans. We may as well say, is this the year? Like this, could this be the year? I saw this.
It's the window. It's the fucking window.
I saw this stupid Venn diagram, and it's like. It's Cowboys start off, dude, and it's like shows a bunch of windows, and it's like you are here, and it's like Cowboys fans right now saying this is our year. And then the next one is lose in playoffs.
They win the wild card game, they're going to the Super Bowl.
If they win the wild card game and the NFC East is winning games, it's hunting season because it's go time. Get a little bit of confidence in playoffs, and it's go time.
Yeah, they get that monkey off their back. I know, but Dak's 1-1. I mean, I'm not gonna say he never won a playoff game, but I think the pressure is so much there. I think this team's different. You got Parsons. I mean, he's been such a different maker, mentally. And now you're getting CD really going. You've got a lot of pieces, and these guys are young. People forget how young this team is. Still one of the youngest teams in the NFL. And you've got that mentality. That's why I keep telling people the day you can't look, everyone wants to have memory of what they want. Well, if you got a memory, they have either the complete memory or let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about now, because they always want to talk about the failures, but they want to talk about the Super Bowl championships. It's, that's 30 years ago. Yeah. Well, what's the difference? Yeah. What's it, 2 years? When does it not matter? And that's why I said, let's look forward to this team. And I think the team that's built now is so different than the team last year. I think Parsons is just taking another step up. I think that, Diggs, I think some of these, these other guys have elevated the game. I think our run defense is I know it started a little slow in some things, but I think looking good. Major strides in that. So we're fast. We got speed on defense. So this is a totally different team than last year, but mentality, with them fighting, I think it's going to pay dividends for them in the playoffs.
Well, and imagine this team, like you said, they were a bunch of young guys. Imagine they can stack a deep playoff run or get to an NFC Championship game. That's just going to, for these second and third year guys, they're going to be like, okay, we can do this. And it's going to set us up for future seasons to be able to push past that invisible wall that we've been stuck behind for 27 years. Right. So we're going to do one last,
but before you do one last thing, the EJ Savage, he's a longtime fan of our. He shows up every live stream, watches it with us. Big fan of yours too, Mike Tagg. He showed up late today. He's like, "Whoa, you guys got the GOAT, Mike Tagg." He has a question for you. How did you get your daughter to love the team as well? Just being such a big fan, did she take to it, or did you have her watch every game with you when she was young? As a young girl dad, I want to know is what.
Yeah.
He said. So he
Well,
has a
that's it.
daughter.
You're gonna get tears in these eyes because when I did my first video, my daughter secretly, she used to always do her own videos of just different things. She memorized my hype video to a T. I put it on there, a long time ago. And then she would always want to do the videos with me. She always went, and she was probably, so she would have been 11, 12 years old. And I don't know if anyone's got kids and they get to be teenagers. So now she's 16 and she hasn't done a video. And I think it was Thanksgiving Day. I said, come on, do a video with your dad. We all watch the game, but do it. And she went in to do it, and she had no fire like she always had. And I said, what's wrong? She goes, Dad, I just don't want to do it. And I'll start crying thinking about it now. It's like, God, she's grown up. You had those years. And so she always, her and I have a special bond, a father-daughter, and she loves Cowboys. And my son is a huge fan. He's just more quiet. He's starting to come out of his shell, but he's more the, Cowboys knowledge kid. And he, and I try and get him on some shows every now and then, but he's not a big spotlight guy. He's more reserved. My daughter's got such a big personality, but yeah, she just did it on her own. And then we had it, but now she's grown out of it. So
she'll come back. She'll come back around.
They all come back, right?
Yeah, they'll have to, right? Sorry, Ant. So you were going to say what you?
Well, I was just gonna roll into getting the bold predictions and score prediction, and then call it a show basically.
So during our we do a live stream on every Cowboys game, and we have people give out a score prediction. If you get it right, you get a shirt. And the only time it's happened was the
first time
week,
we decided to do it, yeah.
And it was a guy who was actually sitting in here. So one of our friends, Matt Vink, was sitting in here and predicted the score. So we're like, dude,
it was such an odd. It was the odd score too.
Yeah, 21-6 or something like that. Anyways, so we do that, and then a bold prediction. We kind of try to think, out of the box, but within a reality. So, not something like Dak throws for 300 yards, but spice it up a little. So maybe we'll do our threes, and then Mike, give us yours. Who wants to start?
Who's chomping at the bit?
Let Anth fucking go.
Yeah, you.
What? There was some hostility in your voice there. Why are you mad at me? Because AJ's not falling down drunk. You're not. Okay. Shut out. We're shutting these bitches out. I said I'm nervous about it. We're shutting them out. We're shutting them out. For some reason, 38 always keeps coming up into my brain, and I think I've picked 38 for us so many times. 38-0 is my score prediction. We're wiping the floor with them, and I need a bold prediction of I'm kind of on the spot here. This is what I always do to you guys. Usually I have some time to think of this. Bold prediction, Damone Clark touchdown.
Whoa, okay. That's a Screech shot.
Yeah, if Damone Clark gets a touchdown, we have to have a shot of Screech. You're right.
Screech rum.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
Bold. It's bold. That's bold.
A rookie that wasn't even supposed to play this year getting a touchdown.
Getting a TD. Yeah.
It's bold enough.
So you just got to sell it to me.
Yeah, I had to.
Do you want me to go out?
Yeah, you go.
Okay.
And then we'll gradually get bolder because Ad already has
5 players that I'm going to give a bold prediction to. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think we're gonna.
Don't just think, do.
I'm gonna just kind of law of averages here. Houston's gonna get 14 points.
Zero. No, they're getting 0.
14 points. But the Cowboys, I'm figuring 45.
Wow, 40 burger.
Yeah, I'm leaning on the way that they've been scoring lately. So let's hope it continues and it's not a fucking.
It's hard to score. Then that's a funny thing about this 50, like we'd said. We scored 50 points and we're still finding flaws. It is hard for a team to get 40 points, let alone 50. So,
And I don't ever really go that high. Usually,
no, you're usually low.
I'm usually lower, but it's just the Houston Texans and how we've been rolling.
You're feeling good about
it. I'm doing it. Bold prediction. Shoot. Okay. I'm calling 2 Screech shots.
You think Turpin finally scores?
I think there's going to be either 2 defensive touchdowns or
you got to pick it though.
I have to pick it. No, because it's either a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown. So I'm calling two shots. I don't know which one it's gonna be. I can't call between them.
Okay, so just do it for fun. We'll say
Okay,
if
two
you get
two defensive.
Okay, 2 defensive touchdowns.
And Victor A in the chat saying bold predictions of a defense TD should be a double screenshot. It's only one screenshot. We can't handle more than one. EJ Savage says 41-10 for Cowboys. I'm close to that. I'm 41-9 for my score.
Burger.
For my score prediction, and I definitely want to go. This is going to be Dak's 400-yard game. So I believe Dak's, my bold predictions, Dak's throwing over 400 yards.
You said that last time and he had 165. So,
but we still got a 50 burger. So
guess what?
Fuck yeah. 41-9.
400. You got to give me a T. You got to give me a T. You beaked my rookie
400.
touchdown. 400, and I need a touchdown amount.
I mean, it's bold by any other person.
4-4-4.
It's not
400, 4 touchdowns.
It's not bold for you.
That's not bold for me. 40 burger, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns thrown by Dakota.
And 4 rushing touchdowns. Just kidding. Okay, Mike. So that's kind of what we do here. What do you got? What do you got for your score prediction and then your boldy?
The score in my head keeps, while I'm listening to you guys, 37-6.
Nice.
37-6.
It's kind of in between. I like it.
And bold prediction, I'll do this for my son, Calvin Joseph, with a pick 6.
Nice.
Oh,
See,
nice.
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah, Tank Spikes in the chat says bold prediction, Kelvin Joseph interception.
Calvin Joseph interception touchdown. We'd be I think all
We'd
of
be
ours.
cr- we- we'd
all
be-
of
we'd be
ours.
throwing it. We'd be throwing his music on.
No, all of ours. All of ours minus your prediction. We're drinking Screech.
Yeah.
So
That's
and
right.
there's actually if actually Damone Clark could score, Calvin Joseph could score, and then all 3 of us, our bold predictions are good, except yours, Ad.
Yeah, and then how many street shots is that though?
Too many.
Yeah, way too many street
Too
shots. That's
many.
for sure.
Okay, Mike. Again, we loved having you on.
Hey, the chat's asking Mike to do one of his outros.
Oh, a promo.
For us. They want you to cut a promo.
Cut a promo.
Cut a promo
Hey,
as an outro.
I don't know if you can see it. You know, I'd have to do it sitting down. That's my only problem. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, for
I
sure.
don't think I'll fit the table. Let me think. All right, Cowboys Nation, we are here. We just got done beat down them Colts. We set the tone. Now we're taking on these lonely Texans. I know there's a lot of concern talking about trap games. Parsons, Diggs, Tank ain't gonna let that happen. So, Texans, you come at AT&T. We're getting ready to beat you down a little bit more because we just getting this thing started. So, Cowboys Nation, we gonna get hyped. Can you feel me? Now, can you dig it?
Oh, we dig it. I want to run through a fucking wall right now. That was awesome.
Let's go.
Just able to turn it on instantly.
Yeah,
Fast forward to Sunday.
yeah.
Now I woke my whole house up because it's 11 o'clock my time.
Oh, we appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for coming on.
Just one last time, just give your shout out your socials for anyone that's still in the chat that hasn't heard of you. I'm sure most of the people that are in here have heard of you. You're kind of all over. You've been posted like your shit went viral. But if you want to just give your tags again, just so anyone interested. Plus, we'll tag you in this episode. We'll put you down in the description and stuff.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Easiest way is mtag1993 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. That's where I get most of my hate. Also, YouTube, you can find me at Mike.